Brian Belleth. Brian! Okay, today is going to be an exciting episode because Brian Belleth drove in from Woodstock. Our friend Brian Belleth, he's got such a beautiful tenor voice. He's going to be awesome. We sit down, we can have a call. Brian, Calandra's upstairs waiting for you. I just got to run in there. I'll be there in 2 seconds. Stick with us. It's going to be an exciting conversation. See you in 2 seconds. Today on Kindness Matters, a beautiful mix of talent, spirituality, and faith. Brian Belleth has been part of the VPP family since 2012. With a soaring tenor voice and a willingness to be ridiculous, Brian is a director's dream. Beyond his life on stage, what drives him to serve others with kindness in his heart? How does he balance a busy family life, run a theater company to inspire youth, and still find time to perform? I sit down with my friend Brian to discuss all that and more on today's episode of Kindness Matters. Welcome to the conversations. I'm going to have a nice time today because my friend Brian Belleth is here. Hi, Brian.
Hi, David. Great to be here.
Yay. It's fun because you and I love to talk, right?
Oh, yeah. No, I think we have a limit today, don't
Yes, Calandra will say time out.
Time out.
But we had a lovely conversation maybe a couple of weeks ago.
That's right.
And that's where I said, this exact conversation belongs on the VPP stage. So what was about that conversation that you and I connected there?
I think one of the things we were sharing were some of our memories of our experience here at the VPP, our friends that are usually sitting behind me here, and also the artists that we get to connect with. And I think most importantly, your leadership, you and David and Mark, and your amazing team here. And I think the thing that we were exploring in terms of kindness was how, as a collective, as we are putting on a story or telling a story, that you guys create an environment, a culture in which we all can take risks. And it comes from being generous with one another, creating a space where it's okay. It's okay to make a mistake, or it's okay to try something new. And I think it's really taken that idea, and I said to you how there's something about, there's the physical side of what we do, the physical of singing or acting or dancing or playing an instrument. I said there's something very emotional about it and what happens in our mind and how we tell a story. And then I said to you about, I believe what you are doing here and what I've experienced is something spiritual. And that's when we went, whoa, where are we going with this? But, and I think kindness is a huge part of that experience of all three things.
Now, you're a very spiritual man. You're a faith-based man. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I think, for me, I grew up in a Christian home. And it was very important to me, especially in my 20s, is where everything I understood and what I experienced in, be it through church experience, but just through his people, through my parents and my grandmother, especially, she was a huge spiritual pillar in my life, that I recognized that there is something about the soul. And I found out through music and relationships and being able to tell a story, I was able to unlock that within myself and be able to share that with others. So that's been really powerful for me. And I think the thing that I've stuck to is in Scripture, there's a point where the people sort of confront Jesus and say, hey, what's the most important thing or command? And he says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And then he says, and love your neighbor as yourself. And so that piece of it is what I've experienced in my life and what I want to share with others.
That's right. And you lead your life, so you do that with your family. Tell us a little bit about your family. Yeah. You have a beautiful family.
I do. I'm very fortunate.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. Gorgeous.
Actually, my wife and I...
They're adults, half of them, right?
Yes, they are. Yeah. So my wife and I celebrate our 25th anniversary.
Yay!
Yeah. And
happy anniversary.
Thank you. And we have 4 amazing kids.
Yeah.
Our oldest is Abby. And she actually is finishing up this month her undergrad. And actually yesterday, big news in her life. She was accepted into an MBA program at Dalhousie. So we're
Nice.
really, really excited.
Congratulations, Abby.
Yeah,
Nice.
she's done really well. And then our son Isaiah is 19. And he works full time at the church that we're missionaries of, at Movement Church, and he's on the film crew. So he edits all the youth and children.
We could be using him.
I know.
Hey, where are you?
I know. He should be mentoring under Mark.
Yeah.
And then our 16-year-old is Anna.
Yep.
And she's high school, grade 11, and
Singer-songwriter.
Singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
She's hilarious.
Yes.
And we're really proud of how music has become a real lifeline for her.
Nice.
And how she's encouraging the next generation of kids her age and older. And then we have our youngest, who's 11, Sophia.
Sophia!
Yes, and she's our dancer, and she is really a reflection of Jennifer. She's
Nice.
well organized. She runs a tight ship.
Nice.
But anyway, we have 4 kids, and they're doing very well.
Yeah. Now, was it hard to lead as a Christian man in this modern day with children? Like that, you know what I'm saying? What's the question I'm asking? I'm going to be more specific.
I don't think it's difficult. It's the lifeline in which I operate, that focus.
Right.
And, I have found, I think, people in my life like you and David and have shown kindness. You are a reflection of what I believe in terms of loving one another, encouraging one another, and that's how I operate.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Yeah.
That's really the big focus for me, and what I do outside of being on stage here is what I do on the other side of my life, which is mentoring young people through youth theater.
Tell us about that. So it's K2
yeah,
Productions?
K2K Productions.
KK Productions.
So it's kid to kid. So the idea was that as mentors, we wanted to create an opportunity for kids in our communities to explore the arts. But out of that, creativity, imagination, telling a story, it's the same thing. When you become a character in a play, we start to identify with things with that character. And so the kids were kind of exploring, be it they're playing Simba in Lion King or Ariel in Little Mermaid, understanding that hero of the story and the obstacles they were going through, who were the people on their side, the guides in their life. And what happens in that situation is they start to tell you their story.
Nice.
And so we as mentors around these students are encouraging them to share their story, the triumphs in their lives, as well as the most difficult things that they've experienced. And what we want to do is be a reflection of Christ in terms of just encouraging them, listening to them, being present in their lives to encourage them. And in a lot of cases, they're like, hey, Brian, my mom's really going through a hard time. Do you mind praying for my mom? So it's been that really cool relationship in which kids can be all they can be.
Now, you shared a story, without using names,
Yeah.
you shared a story about someone having a hard time. She was shy. And so do you know the story?
Yeah.
You share that story without using names.
Without names. Well, everybody's situation is different.
Yes.
And so one of our students, her little sister was involved with us, and she saw a significant transformation in her sister. Someone that actually wasn't able to be in a regular classroom, and her mom was really trying to figure out, single parent, trying to figure out where's the best fit for her, and something that would really lift her up.
Yeah.
And so her little sister got involved with us, and within 6 months, she said to her mom, "Mom, I need to go to K2K Productions because what I see in my sister, I'm looking for that too." And so I didn't know that part of the story. Anyway, she got involved with us, and it was an interesting journey because it was all about trust. It took quite a while for this student to trust the process as well as the people around her, just like what we talk about at the VPP, right?
Yep.
So what happened within 6 months, what we saw was a real transformation where someone that stood at the back of the class now was sitting at the front, engaged, putting her hand up, hey, can I do this? Can I help? Can I help backstage? Can I be a part of this? And all of a sudden, we saw this confidence come out of her. And I said to Jennifer, this is why we do what we do.
Amen.
And then eventually in her small group is part of our experience. So they have a leader, sort of like camp, right? And she shared with her group and her leaders, she said, I love being here. I have new friends here. And one of the things that I'm starting to really think about is what I'm going to do after high school. And the leader was like, oh, great. Like, what are you thinking? Well, I really want to go to college or university. And of course, that's great. And we're all celebrating that. But the thing that we realized was she would be the first person in her family to go beyond high school.
Wow.
And the confidence and being in a safe environment for where she could be all that she could be, she started to say, what is possible out there?
Right.
And that's where this whole idea of kindness comes in.
Right.
Because if she's in an environment where she belongs, that we are encouraging her in her strengths, and it's okay, even if you're not, strong on your feet, we're going to be there for you, right? And how that's translated into her life, right? And it's like a great song, someday we're going to have to write one. But that's really why I do what I do as an artist on stage here at the VPP, as well as mentoring young people. It's all about art, faith, and like we're talking about today, kindness.
Kindness. Is it fun to work with your wife, to work side by side? Would she have a different opinion?
No. Well, you know what? It's like every partnership, right? Yeah. You have your strengths. Yeah. David has his strengths. Yeah. The same thing for Jennifer and I. Yeah. Jennifer is really a huge part of the success story of what we do. She is, obviously the administration part of it is really important, or we can't operate, right? She's a great communicator. And she's the realist in the relationship, right? So I have a tendency to dream and get lost in my dreams, and Jennifer is about that's great. Keep dreaming, but we need to have step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in order to be successful. Right. So we are a great partnership. It's really become a year and a half where we're really working together every day. So there are moments, I'll have to be honest with you, where she's like, okay, look, I live with you, I work with you, I need to go for a walk, I need my own space. So, fair enough. So it's been very good. Yeah. I've loved it.
One thing that I find, besides loving you, because you're just such a gentleman, my favorite thing is offering you a contract at the Victoria Playhouse because of this. First thing you always say is thank you. Then you say, I'm grateful. Yeah. Then you say, I have to check with my wife and talk to my family and see if that's okay, if it works in their schedule. And I just say to David, there is a man who has his priorities straight. Because ideally you go, I'm there. It's going to be. So tell me about that.
That's a process, right?
It's a process.
But it's about, there's this idea of selflessness, right? When I made that commitment to Jennifer, when we got married, it's, she is the priority. And, I have to admit, it's 25 years of learning this lesson, right? And I'm sure many
And then you're going to learn more.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, totally.
So, but it was important. And I think it came out of a very good place. And sometimes in our experiences, and I think some of our views too, it comes out of our biggest struggles and challenges in our lives. And it's a wake-up call sometimes that goes, wait, hold on. My kids need me. My wife needs me. I love being here. I love being on stage. It's part of who I'm wired to be, and I love it. But I've had to make those priorities, because at the end of the day, it's the relationships that matter most.
That's right. And you have a full-time job, right? Yeah. And a full-time parent. Yeah. But I love, like, when I'm talking to agents, like, well, what's the con? How much is it? Will you get them somewhere to live? Like, that's not Brian Belleth. He says, thank you. I'm grateful. I'm like, woo! Besides, you're a very, very talented man.
Well, thank you.
Tell us about being a tenor, growing up as a singer. Go.
Yeah. So as singer, it was a bit of a surprise.
Oh.
Yeah. So. I was pretty much a class clown, and I think
really?
Yeah, really.
Wow.
So I think what happened was, it was just a situation which I had an amazing teacher who recognized something in me of an entertainer, and so she decided to put on a Christmas pageant. It was Our Lady of Fatima was the Catholic school I was going to, and then she said, Brian, you're going to be singing. And you're going to be one of the wise men. Of course, I thought that was hilarious. And that was my first musical experience. Now, my mom did put me in piano lessons, but singing, there was just something very magical about it. And I never looked back.
Wow.
And I guess the next turning point for me was, again, my mom was like, okay, we got to do something with this kid. And so she put me in a summer camp. And actually, it was through Center in the Square in Kitchener.
Waterloo. Oh, good.
And it was a summer camp. And you had to audition. I had never auditioned for anything. So I remember going there, and I'm a romantic. A lot of our friends here at the VPP, when they say, Brian, sing us a song, it's always a ballad. I don't know what it is about ballads. But anyway, I wanted to tell this quickly, the story. So I went to the audition. There was in the rehearsal hall at Center in the Square. It's a very large room. There was a grand piano there, space for dancers, and the kids were all on the perimeter. Brian Belleth. I get up, I stand in front of the piano, and she says, okay, so Brian, tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, a typical conversation. And then it came to, okay, what are you going to do for us today? I said, I'm going to sing a song. I mean, I was in grade 8. I'm going to sing a song. And I had my book. And then she said, do you have a accompanist today? I said, no. I didn't even know what she was talking about. Anyway, she said, okay, are you just going to sing by yourself? Yeah. So I put the music on the piano, played the first note, and sang the song "A Time for Us."
Oh, of course you did.
In grade 8. Well, I don't know why I chose that piece, but from that moment,
because you could. That's why.
From that moment, I had a voice teacher. I was in some dance classes during this camp experience, and after that, I said, "Mom, I want to be a singer." And that was really foreign to my parents.
Yep.
And so I went through a journey in high school. I had a great experience. I went to a high school that was for big in music.
Oh, yeah.
And then university, and the rest is history. So
where did you grow up?
In Kitchener-Waterloo.
Kitchener-Waterloo.
Yeah.
Now you
Toronto.
live in Woodstock.
Yes,
yeah,
I live in Woodstock.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to do something before we conclude.
Sure.
I need you to explain these pictures. Tell us a little bit about something about it.
This is dangerous.
This is dangerous. It's going to be fun, but it's also, I'm so glad in our conversation you said trust. And
I trust you.
You do. But David Rogers loves directing you. My favorite thing is when I was directing New Canadian Curling Club, then all of a sudden Raj, the artistic director, came in and took over a little bit. But because you two have such a trust with each other.
Yes,
and he's a comedic. He's a comedic director, and he's very funny himself.
Yeah.
And he just loves pulling that out of you. And you trust him.
I'm very thankful for it because it's, for me, that's one of my special experiences here. And that's really dear to my heart. I say it to people all the time.
Yeah.
And how David and I have that collaboration of comedy, and I love every minute of it. So now I think I have an idea of what's happening.
All right, so I'm going to show you a picture. Just tell us what you see and explain a little bit of it.
The word that came to me is mama.
Do you remember what show?
Yeah, Hollywood Sings. And I loved that show. All I can say is childlike wonder. That's the word that comes to my mind.
All right, ready for that?
I can't believe it. Amen. That's all I have. Wow, that was from the same show, Sister Act. And for me, that is just joy. Yeah. That word for me is joy in that.
You wear a habit very beautifully.
Why, thank you.
It's your Christian upbringing. Okay, go.
Oh, that's, I don't know if I'd say sexy, Brian. But that's whoa, the word that comes to my mind is boogie. That's all I can think of.
Do you remember what number?
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia.
And that was the one where we did we had to fire the cannon at the end. And
I love the wig, My God.
Yeah, I think I look
You were a
good.
redhead.
Is it red?
Yeah.
I look good in a wig.
You did.
And there's the Little Wholesome. Well, this one I think was a special moment because part of the creative process when we were in rehearsal, right? So we were going through this particular show, and David was one of the characters as well. And it just evolved. And he gives me permission to...
So tell everybody what's the skit.
It's... So Long, Farewell,
The Von Trapp.
from the Von Trapp family. And one of the things that I like to bring into my comedy too is a little bit of who I am, my family's background, being from Sri Lanka. And we have a lot of fun with it. Even in my family, we'll make fun of accents and we just have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so David gives me permission or allows me to explore that. And we evolved the character out of that.
So what was your character's name? Do you remember? I don't remember.
No, I think it was the same, Gert.
Oh, Gert.
I just used an accent.
And then,
I'm Gert. I'm 11 almost.
Oh, that's such a nice age to be. 11 almost.
and then you sang. What did you sing in that?
Oh yeah, we found a Indian little ballad piece. Oh my goodness! I almost have to do it. I can't even remember the title of it. Anyway, we did a little bit of Bollywood dance spoof of it, and it went
Funny, man.
Yeah.
Oh, you all were funny in that.
Yeah, it was great. That was fun.
Do you remember that?
No, I know it started by Christmas.
Yep. Look at that face, though. Look at your face. There's nothing animated about you at all.
No, not at all.
So David was turn your face away. It was during the holiday medley.
Okay.
It was you, Mark Cassius, Michael Van Hevel.
Oh, that's
But I just
great.
loved your face. Look at your face,
Yeah,
right?
I love it.
I love that
That's
face.
so good.
Okay.
Oh, yes. That was the Canadian Curling Club. You know, that was a really exciting experience for me because typically I'm supposed to be singing when I'm on stage, you know, in terms of the professional world. So this was a wonderful experience for me to play a character, straight acting. And again, it just lent itself to some of the things that I cherish in terms of comedy. And that's where David and I worked really closely in terms of falling and
So your character always fell on the ice, right?
yeah, constantly.
Yeah.
Anoopjeet was on the ice, which is pretty much my life too. I didn't really skate much, so but I loved that show and what we were able to pull out of it and the.
Because
I
there's
think
an
the
art
moral
to
of the story-
falling safely, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And you have to do it night after night. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's a series of pictures. Like you're like, oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. I loved that experience.
You were very funny. But then you also had a very dramatic moment in that show, which was beautiful.
And
the
I think
second
that's
act.
really, and I think it resonated with me as an
Yeah.
actor because that's what my parents as immigrants coming to Canada. I'm first generation Canadian. And through that experience, I remember calling my mom and saying, you know, Mom, I'm doing the show. Oh, what? Oh, really? What's the show about? Anyway, but I said, Mom, the point I'm trying to make here in this phone call is I'm thankful for the sacrifices you made in order for myself and my sister to have a better life, being a Canadian. And so that story, there was a moment, and I think I resonated that for my parents.
Yes.
Coming to a new country, believing with all their heart this was to make a better life. And Anoopjeet goes through that experience of leaving India, coming to Canada, and the trials and tribulations of that. And then at the end, he's like, but there is something really good about being here. And yeah, that was a very special moment.
Yeah, you were great in that. It was a beautiful
thank
thing.
you.
Okay, more trust.
I love it. Honestly, I love those moments because, and I look great in a wig.
You look good in a wig.
I look good in a wig. Again, David Rogers not constant, but creates opportunities like this for us. And you know what it is? It's really about getting our friends that are sitting behind us to laugh. I think we need more time to laugh.
Yeah.
And especially during this season that we're all in.
Yeah.
We need to laugh.
Yeah, amen. So trust.
Oh, the fruitcake.
Woo.
Yeah, that one, that's a classic now. I think people still call me the fruitcake. Oh, I saw you in the show. It's never about the singing. It's about
The fruitcake.
the fruitcake.
Okay, this is my favorite. Do you know what it is?
I know exactly what it is. The diaper.
Look at the
there's
pain
Sparks girls, and
Yeah.
I will never forget the first moment they saw me like in a rehearsal, you're not wearing the diaper.
Yeah.
Right? And Anna's look on her face, but then of course she looks out and she's a
pro.
true pro, right?
Yeah.
And she looked at me, is this for real? And then looked out, right? I think that will be my signature role.
Yeah. You've done
Hands
it
down.
have you done diaper a couple of shows, right?
I have.
Yeah,
And,
because it works brilliantly.
And, you know, it really shows off my skinny ankles. And,
yeah. I go to
But
look at my
anyway,
leg.
for me, that's definitely a favorite.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I love that you and David come up with things like that.
I love
I just can't come there. Okay, and this
Okay.
is my this is a beautiful picture.
Yes, that was the Al Jolson scene from Hollywood Sings,
Yeah.
I believe.
I walk a million miles for one of your smiles. My
Yeah. And
I wanted to conclude with something beautiful.
Yeah.
You're not always the class clown.
no, but I enjoy it.
You enjoy it.
But I also, and that's the other side of it, like that last picture you said, I think they're having those serious moments, really, but it's really about the heart.
Yeah.
You know, and being able to share heart with our audience and with each other as artists.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the takeaway? That was fun. Thank you for letting me
Yeah,
do that.
no
That was a
problem.
lot of fun.
That was fun.
What's the takeaway? So you've been working with the VPP and the Davids
Yeah.
for years, and it seems synonymous to what you do in your
Yeah.
life. So someone says, "I want to be in show business." What would be the takeaway? Like, what would you say?
Well, I think the first thing, because I have students that, you know, that have been with us in high school and they're like, hey, I want to audition for Sheridan or other musical theater programs. I really want to pursue this. And I always encourage them.
Nice.
You know, nothing ventured, nothing gained,
Yeah,
right?
amen.
But I think the most important thing I've learned through this is know who is in your corner, you know,
Lovely.
who really loves you, and what's really important. Because it's, as much as I love this business, is a tough business, right? And you have to have that sort of sense and security of who you are, and be able, and that also means that you're willing to take risk.
Yeah, the trust.
We're willing
Yeah,
to take risk,
that's
and I'm
good.
still evolving in that. And I think my experience here at VPP has been part of that journey, and why I do what I do with kids is because I want them to be free.
Right.
And have that freedom in that moment. So that's what I would say to a student or someone who really wants to do this, and not to give up, right? And so when those calls, you keep getting the no's, you know, call that person your lifeline, and just say, hey, and be reminded of that you were created for this, and whatever that purpose is. And as an artist, to me, it's not about dollar signs. You know, how much I'm making.
No.
It's about, am I making a difference in people's lives by using the gifts I was given?
That's the best. Don't we just love Brian Belleth? Brian, you're going to sing for us.
I am. I'm excited.
Always a pleasure talking to my friend. He enlightens. When I grow up one day, I'm going to be like you, Brian. That's a promise. Thanks for spending the afternoon with us.
Oh, it's been great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Brian Belleth is going to sing for us.
Out of the ruins and rubble, out of the smoke, out of a night of struggle, can we see a ray of hope? One pale thin ray reaching for the day. We can build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city. Not a city of angels, but we can build a city of man. We may not reach the ending, but we can start. Slowly but truly mending start learning how we can build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city. Not a city of angels, but we can build a city of man. When your trust is all but shattered, when your faith is all but killed, you can give up bitter and battered, or you can slowly start to build a beautiful city. Yes, you can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city. Not a city of angels, but finally a city of man. A city of man. We can build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city. Not a city of angels, but finally a city of